For more exclusive content from CNBC Crypto Trader, hit the subscribe button now.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.
Months ago, Crypto Trader came to South Korea. It was the first time that any Western media outlet had given the Korean blockchain scene such in-depth coverage. This week we're back, but this time it's different. The whole world is here with us, covering what promises to be one of the biggest weeks in blockchain history. This week you'll see exclusive interviews with Novogratznen, who says that Bitcoin is headed back to $25,000. You'll meet Simon, Kim and the whole Hash team who tell us why they think Korea is leading the way. Arrington takes me on about my XRP position. We also talk to an FBI agent about how to keep your crypto safe. We'll meet the fund managers, the projects, the influencers. We may even hit some parties. All that on this week's episode of Crypto Trader. Today, what are the 5 biggest or 5 hottest projects in Korea?
We're going to take out 10,000 and then we're going to go right to 20,000.
What were the more exciting blockchains that you guys invested in? Erica Kang is a specialist in assisting Western companies to penetrate the Korean blockchain market.
I think it's probably the kimchi. It's very hot. Like blockchain is hot.
Either I'm going to hack the person or I'm going to hack the technology.
We're sitting here in Korea and Bitcoin's jumped like $1,000 in the last 2 days. It's been like...
Okay, so I didn't know that. I actually have not been checking, and then I just saw, I was looking at your tweets because they're always really entertaining, and see you're trashing today, and you're like, hey, Bitcoin's way up, and I was like, oh my God, it's up to the 7,000s now. So did we hit the low?
I think so. What do you think?
I always think so.
So you're bullish. The week starts off at the Beyond Block Summit. It's the biggest conference in Asia and forms the pillar for the entire Korean blockchain week. It takes place at the historic Schiller Hotel. We're going to introduce a whole lot of new segments here on the show today. And hey, we may even show some coins. You see what I did there? So Saber, you're the organizer of this conference. One of the best conferences we've ever been to. And what is it about this conference that brings people back to the conference?
For us, quality is very important, attendee experience. So there's no project here talking about fundraising. There's no project on stage shilling their ICOs. It's only projects talking about either demoing a product maybe, or talking about basically the ideas behind blockchain, the ideas behind mass adoption.
You've got a lot of people here. How many people came to this conference?
We see around 2,000 people, I think. It's double from the previous conference.
So we're here at the World Blockchain Week in Korea, covering the biggest stories from this event, sponsored by Beyond Blocks. And the first speaker on stage was Simon from Hashed. He's the founder of Hashed, and he's no stranger to our show. Simon, welcome back to Crypto Trader.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Simon, that was a great opening speech, telling us about why Korea has got so much blockchain adoption. Why has Korea got so much blockchain adoption?
So actually Korea was always the first adoption country for the new technology, such as graphic MMORPG game and digital buying of digital assets, and also P2P music file sharing service as well.
So Simon, what is it that makes the Korean people adopt technology so quickly?
In fact, Korea is very hyper-connected country in the world. So we have the fastest internet connection, and we have the #1 mobile device adoption in the world, and also 40% of whole population lives around one city. So that makes Korea very hyper-connected society.
Now, cryptocurrency is a gray area legally in Korea. No one knows whether it's legal or illegal. But that hasn't stopped many projects from coming out of Korea. Today, what are the 5 biggest or 5 hottest projects in Korea?
#1 is Terra, the stablecoin project. So it's led by Ticket Monster. one of the leading e-commerce player in South Korea.
So Terra is a stable coin.
Yeah.
What's the next project that has come out of Korea that is a good project?
Another one is Carry. So Carry is a blockchain project for loyalty point adopted by many retail stores in South Korean market.
Okay. Next one?
Content protocol.
That's Content Protocol is linked to the Watcher platform.
Yeah.
And that's almost like the Netflix of Korea.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's being tokenized now by this protocol?
Yeah.
So Simon, I'm going to ask you for two more.
Yeah, so other one is Passport. Passport is a reverse issue from Handy, the unicorn company based in Hong Kong.
Handy is the phone that you get in all the hotel rooms all around Asia. Why would they want to tokenize?
So I believe every single hotel in the world wants to reduce the transaction fee from OTA, online travel agency. So they used to charge more than 20% as a transaction cost. So
20%?
Yeah, as a fee. Yeah.
Wow, okay, so this is a real case of disintermediation.
Yeah.
Simon, one more project.
Another one is Dark Matter.
Which one?
Dark Matter.
Okay, and what does Dark Matter do?
The Dark Matter is a platform for matching a fund for GP, general partner, and LP, limited partners, in the blockchain space.
Now, Simon, before I let you go, people have been talking about this period as a crypto winter. And the prices are down, and no matter how much we are investing in technology in the background, the prices are still going down. Do you think we can expect the markets to recover towards the end of the year?
I think a market will go rise up again after the regulation settlement from some major country, including Korean market. And also, every single blockchain people wanted to see the real use case in the market. So
as soon as we've got regulation and as soon as we've got a real use case, the market will start flying. Simon, it's always good to have you on Crypto Trader. You're a good friend of ours. Thank you very much. Now, if you guys are watching us and you want more information about World Blockchain Week in Korea, hit the subscribe button now. What is it about Korea that makes crypto so big here?
The main thing about Korea, and in fact lots of Asia entirely, is that they're not addicted to legacy systems like the UK and the West is. So in the West, with blockchain, you'll often see someone take an existing business model and go, plus blockchain, jazz hands.
People love crypto. They're all excited about new innovations, making money with money, and crypto is a new way to do that. So yeah, that's why they're excited.
Over here, they're actually happy to look at what they can create and how they can use this amazing technology, blockchain specifically, to redesign or draw completely new models, and that's why it's super exciting.
They're brave enough to be, I guess, more speculative on things.
I think that Korea is, really labeling this as like the fourth industrial revolution, and they really believe that, and I think everyone's really embracing that sentiment.
What do you think? What is it about Korea that makes crypto so big here?
I think it's probably the kimchi. It's very hot. Like blockchain is hot, and they've always been, Koreans have always been ahead of the curve, showing the way for the rest of the world, right? So that's
all in the kimchi.
It's all in the kimchi, man. It's all in the kimchi.
What do you see the change in the last year or maybe even two?
The biggest change is 2 years ago if you had gotten to meet with an institutional investor, they would have nothing.
We continue with our coverage from the Beyond Blocks conference here in Seoul in South Korea. I'm here with someone who's no stranger to our show, Mr. Mike Novogratz. Mike, welcome back to Crypto.
Good to be back, good to be back.
Mike, last time we spoke was in December last year, and you said that you weren't investing into this market because the market was crazy.
It was crazy.
What do you think now?
I think we've pretty much bottomed. I'm not positive we bottomed, but it feels like we have. I don't think we're going to race off. I think if Bitcoin takes that 6,800, you get a nice little pump. But I do think we're really building a nice bottom for the next move up. I think the next move up is going to need custody from a trusted source. It's going to need a little more regulatory clarity. We won't take out 10,000 without those two things, because that's what brings the institutional investors in. But we're going to get there.
So what makes you think that we've bottomed? I mean, the bottom could be 5,000 or 4,000 or 3,000. You're experienced, and the reason why I'm asking is because I want to tap into your experience to say, what makes you think, what are you seeing?
We've tested the downside a bunch, and we keep kind of bouncing off it. But I see slowly but surely, more adoption. You know, there are more people at these conferences. There are more people working in this space. When I look at the private rounds, right, a lot of institutions are making their first foray by putting some money in a venture cap fund. It's a little safer, right? If you bought Bitcoin a month ago, 2 months ago, you feel pretty stupid right now if it's your first foray and you're working for the state of. Private deals are really well bid. We made a bunch of investments recently, and you know, it's not easy. You're fighting over the opportunity. And so there's this weird scenario where the privates are actually richer right now than what I'll call the publics, where actually the coins are trading.
There seems to be this whole underground market of these ICOs which are filling up pretty quickly, the private rounds. Now, what do we need to do to get the institutional guys into the market?
It's time. It's the blockchains themselves are being built and they're getting more industrial. They're not there yet. But mostly it's the architecture around what institutional investors need. They need custody with a name that they can trust. They're just not going to buy into a Zop or even a Coinbase doing their own custody, right? The idea of custody is to separate. And so it's going to be, maybe it's a Fidelity, maybe it's an ICE, you know, some consortium, a Goldman Sachs. It's going to be some name that you've heard before. Nomura has announced they might get into it in a joint venture.
So you don't think it's going to be one of the existing names, Coinbase, BitGo?
No. Listen, I like BitGo, I like Zoppo, I feel really comfortable with my money there. If I'm at the state of Wisconsin, I'm not going to risk my job on a company called BitGo. And now, that doesn't mean those aren't real businesses and they'll continue to grow. Matter of fact, I think the opposite, they will continue to grow. Hedge funds and whatnot. But the real institutional guys, they are risk averse.
Is there such thing as institutional FOMO? Does the term institutional FOMO exist?
100% there is. It's not there yet. There'll be a tipping point. You know, the cutting edge pension funds and sovereign wealth funds will get in first, and then they'll all come coming in. It always happens.
There is a theory that says that we've been building bridges for institutions to climb on. Regulatory bridges, we've got some clarity as to what Bitcoin is and what Ethereum is. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're building the bridges. Do you think that we're talking 6 months, or do you think we're talking about 2 years?
Yeah, you know, I wish I knew exactly. I think it's somewhere between 6 months and 18 months. I said in that conference, I think Bitcoin 12 months from now will be over 10,000. So, you know, that's somewhere between 6 months and 18 months.
It's a perfect mix. Now, Mike, I know we've got a lot of viewers that bought utility tokens in January, February, and March when the markets were still good. Do you still see hope for this thing called the utility token?
I love utility tokens.
So you don't think it was a failed experiment?
Absolutely not. I actually think the cooler projects are all utility tokens. How they got sold is a different question, right? I think you're going to see lots of utility tokens in the future sold. They're going to get sold under some regulatory framework. You're not going to be able to just come up with some half-back white paper, get on Twitter or Telegram and pump people up, and you know, it's not kosher, and it's B, it's not the way things are going to work in the future.
So you're a big fan of utility tokens?
Love it. It's quite funny. It's far more exciting to me than the security token.
Cool. So before I let you go, and I am going to let you go, on CNBC last year, you called the market cap at the end of 2019 at $800 billion. And at the time, some people laughed at you because they said, we already hit 800 billion, how can it be? Are you still confident that 800 billion is a good number for the end of this year?
No, I'm not. I think we'll be lower than that. Because I don't think we get the custody solution in place by then. I think within 12 months it is. You know, and so it's going to be the step function. Right? We're going to take out 10,000 and then we're going to go right to 20,000. Because we're only going to take it out because you've got custody moving in, and that's going to reignite the animal spirits and the FOMO again.
So that's 800 billion in 12 months.
Yeah.
And that's Mike Novogratz back on Crypto Trader. If you are watching us on YouTube, now's a great time to hit the subscribe button. What is it about Korea? Why is Korea so fast on adoption?
I guess it has to do with their internet adoption rate, as well as their mobile phone technology adoption as well.
We have more than 98% of the population who have the access to the internet.
They always has this like kind of herd mentality, like everyone moves in the same direction. So I think that kind of propagates crypto as well.
Korean people, they are really kind of into really fast changing technology.
Monica, what is it about Korea that makes crypto so popular?
Oh gosh, there's so many things going on every week. So, you know, it's just a very exciting place to be. So everybody wants to come here and get a piece of the pie.
I think Seoul is something very progressive and just super dynamic about Seoul.
So it's all in the kimchi. We continue our coverage from Beyond Blocks here in Seoul, Korea, and now focusing on asset managers, fund managers, and where they are investing in this tumultuous times on the market. With me, I've got one of the founders of Neo Global Capital, Tony Gu. Tony, welcome to Crypto Trader.
Hey, welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Tony, it's been an up and down ride on the market. The market hasn't been very easy. At Neo Global Capital, you've still been deploying capital. So what are you looking for?
Yeah, we actually, number one, we think this is actually a better time to deploy capital when everybody else is scared, right? Then we're deploying our capital pretty actively, like if not weekly, even daily. I mean, we have a huge team looking at that. So I think now, for us, we are going very aggressively, if not full force.
So you guys are the investment arm of the Neo blockchain, and you're primarily funded by Neo, right?
Yeah, okay, that's partially right. It's, yes, it's primarily funded by Neo, but we do have external LPs, including GPs like me.
And what are you looking for? What are you investing in?
You know, I think cutting across sectors, we are actually looking at teams very much. I mean, it doesn't matter which sector you are. The team is number one factor we're looking at. At this early stage of industry, everything could happen in the future. A good team can pivot if anything, you know, goes wrong, right? So that's number one thing we're looking at. Then, of course, we're looking at technologies. Okay, we used to like a lot of infrastructure technologies. You know, publicly chains, protocols, consensus, algorithms, a lot. I mean, you name it. We have invested so many of them, right, globally. At this point in time, a little bit change in that. We are looking at, you know, applications as well.
So are you saying that we've seen all this saturation of these blockchains, all claiming to have done 10,000 transactions per second, all claiming to be more secure, more decentralized? Are you saying we are now maybe moving one level above that to the point where we should start investing in maybe even dApps?
That's a very good summary. I was about to say that. It's so many publications coming out in the next few months. They're all struggling to have dApps, real usage. That's what we are looking for as well.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot here. Investments in blockchains, which you say was the earlier investments that you made. What were the more exciting blockchains that you guys invested in?
Yeah, I think I have to talk about the fund performance now. It's almost grown like 15, 20 times in the last 6 months due to a good investment into several big projects like Ontology. We go in Ontology in a big way, make very good return. Zilliqa, Bluezell, Oasis, Mainframe, Certic. Fantastic.
That sounds amazing. Now, are there any specific investments that you've made in the last, say, 30 to 60 days that you're really excited about?
Yeah, I mean, we are into this a lot of. Actually, we are doing investment like daily, so there's just so many of them. But since we are in Korea, we invest into Argo or Arigo, fantastic project in Korea. We also invest in Oasis, I mean, fantastic project from Berkeley.
Name one or two others that have really excited you of late.
Multivec, which is and Block Cloud. These are two Chinese projects, but they are advanced in DAG technologies. Yeah, that's why we invest them for the future application.
Now, Block Cloud is a very exciting application because they're specializing in IoT. And a really, really exciting project which we are going to have on our show very, very soon. Tony, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know you've got a plane to catch to leave here.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time and coming on Crypto Trader. It's been an absolute pleasure. And any favorite projects that actually came out of Korea? That one always stumps people.
I think Icon's amazing. So for interoperability.
Jeez.
I'm expecting Carry project. Yeah.
Carry definitely like the most recent popular one.
Guys, what is it about Korea that makes crypto so big?
I think this is where it has first started. Lots of funds are actually based here, crypto funds.
Who are the biggest funds here in Korea?
The biggest funds in Korea, well, you've got Hashed, obviously leading the way. We have Block Crafters, Blockwater, FactBlock. But in fact, the funds are very global in their approach.
Hashed, yeah, the first, and what else, like foundation. No, they're more like an accelerator.
Who are the biggest funds?
I mean, we just hosted a really cool one last night with Block Crafters and Block Water. There's so many other block VCs out there too, so you're not short on the ground of serious investors here.
If you've been watching Crypto Trader, following my Twitter, you'll know that I've been bashing the XRP token. At least that was until I went to Ripple and I found out that the token does actually have a use case. Now, a few weeks ago on Fast Money and on my Twitter, I mentioned that Ripple was the best company in the world, but that I failed to see the value in the XRP token. So I reached out to the good people at Ripple, and here I am. I'm going to find out whether the XRP token really has value. Hi, how are you? Can I go through?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, this conversation is only for background, and we're not going to film it. But stay tuned, because in one of our next episodes, we're going to bring you some more information about Ripple. So you may find it strange that sitting next to me, I've got Mike Arrington from Arrington XRP Capital. Mike, nice to have you back on Crypto Trader.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So why do you start a fund that is denominated in Ripple? In XRP?
Why did you hate Ripple so much before last week?
I didn't think that Ripple had a use case. I now know that it does have a use case, and it's a very powerful tool on XRapid.
Do you think, here's my theory. You got on their case a little bit to encourage them to spend the time with you that you wanted to spend with them, so that you could then sort of call them, you want to be the kingmaker, which you're becoming. I've watched you progress over the last year, and you've gone from relatively lower sort of ability to do that to somebody who everybody's dying to be on your show. They're lining up here to be on it. So I just think maybe it was more about that, kingmaking than anything else. I do. Here's why. Okay, to be more serious. I told you this in December. I think you were also confused back then, like everybody is. Ripple, or in this case XRP is the actual currency, is a really, really good way to move money. So we denominate our fund in XRP because it's a fantastic way to move money cross-border very quickly at almost zero cost. So there's a lot of tribalism in cryptocurrency and a lot of Bitcoin maximalists, etc. And the one thing they all agree on is they all hate XRP because it's centralized, they think it's corporate managed, etc. I mean, none of that's really true. But what it is a fantastic way to move money. And while the other more decentralized cryptocurrencies sort of find their way towards becoming more efficient, in the meantime, XRP is like fantastic. And so from a hedge fund point of view, it's great to denominate ourselves in XRP.
So I must admit, the XRP token is a very fast-moving token and a great token to move cross-border very quickly. But the logic of denominating a fund in XRP, does that not leave you open to fluctuations? So if you raised money when XRP was, say, $1.50, today XRP is at 50 cents, you're immediately down.
The key thing is the underlying assets. So most of our only a small percentage of our fund holds XRP. We're vastly diversified. Those underlying assets, whatever their value is, that's what really matters at the end of the day, right?
So what percentage of your fund currently sits in the XRP?
Like 3-4%. We hold a few $1 million worth of XRP. Yeah.
So is that not your cash position? In other words, when you're not invested in tokens, are you in XRP?
Again, let's say there's a hedge fund in Tokyo. If they hold dollars, isn't that also a cash position? It's really hard to know. We hold a lot of Bitcoin. We hold more Bitcoin than anything else. We hold a lot of Ether. We hold a lot of US dollars. Occasionally we hold Tether overnight. I don't know which one are the cash positions. They're all either currencies or have different utilities, so I don't know how to answer that question.
So let's talk about some of the more recent investments that you've made that have excited you guys, that are sitting in your fund today.
Yeah, well, it's funny. One of the ones I'm really excited about right now actually isn't Chinese. It's Mainframe. American company, although somebody told me they're actually a British company, but they're Americans doing it. I have no idea where they're actually incorporated. But it's a fantastic company. We've made a lot of money, and they're actually helping to spread freedom, and like in a real way, not just in a sort of cliched way. So real excited about them. They're making a lot of money, and that's really good. But on the Asian front, Korea, where we are now, there's been a number of like really good deals we've been in. Vitadium, I don't know if I'm pronouncing exactly right. You might have been in that. Phantom is another one. Ergo, if you've been in that one, yeah. So there's a lot of creativity and entrepreneurship going on in Korea as well. But it's been a closed market to a lot of outsiders for quite a while. So it's fantastic to be here and to meet these people in person and to see what they're up to.
Have you started investing in the next level, like dApps and exchanges and stuff like that?
We've done exchanges and dApps, but like Mainframe is also an app level, and Orchid was one of our first investments. So, I mean, yes, But a lot of those are just earlier on. They haven't launched yet. They haven't gone liquid. We haven't seen how they're doing. I think maybe next year might be the time we start really seeing the compelling apps come out. Do you agree or disagree on that?
I think that non-fungible tokens are the most exciting thing that's happening. Yeah. Way more exciting than securities tokens.
Okay. I mean, my entire life is spent in cryptocurrency. We're all bullish on it, but I'm always an optimist, right? I think that we're still going to hit 25,000 this year, easy. And I sure hope we're at a low right now, or that the low for the year was 6,000. Yeah.
Mark, it's always good to have you on the show. Thank you very much for coming.
Just before we end, Bitcoin at the end of the year, what's your guess?
$25,000.
Okay, don't cut that. Put that in the video.
The reason why I say that is because I think we're going to get an ETF, and I think the ETF is going to come sometime between August and October, and that's going to send us to $25,000.
Yeah, that gives custody options to the institutional investors that they don't have now. I think you're right. Yeah.
Mike, such a pleasure having you.
Good to see you again. Thanks.
So now we've spoken to the fund managers. I think it's time to get on to speaking to the projects.
You are a trading master. You see trading opportunities where others see coincidences. Charts and patterns are everywhere. You can run with the bulls or be at one with the bears. So don't waste another pip and take your talents to eToro. See why so many top traders choose us as their main trading platform. Start trading on eToro today.
So let's take a walk around the Beyond Blocks conference to see some of the exciting projects and other things that are going on around here. What's going on?
Yeah, it's amazing. I got 10 Ether from this application.
So what's actually going on?
Platin is a proof of location protocol on the blockchain, and we enable geolocated cryptocurrencies and other digital assets.
Great, let's get you onto Crypto Trader to be our first segment of Under the Spotlight. Tell us, what were we actually seeing when we looked at those girls running around looking for coins?
We had the Platin Pocket application used to claim those by touching the cryptocurrencies with the phone physically.
That means there's a million applications for this. I mean, this is retail coupons, this is food grants, this is huge.
It is, and Platin is actually creating a protocol that will enable various types of use cases and then use that in retail situations to buy goods and services.
In our next segment Under the Spotlight, I've got a new and exciting futures exchange called EMX. Jim, what's EMX all about?
Hi, we're building a new futures exchange that will allow people to use cryptocurrency to access futures on crypto, on equities, on commodities, all on one exchange.
Now, are these actual traded futures that have to be settled in the underlying, or are they cash or token settled?
They're cash token settled in the EMX token, but so that's why we're native crypto in, crypto out. There's no need for fiat on our exchange.
Now, why is it so exciting? Why is this futures market so exciting?
Well, the futures market's the largest market in the world, and we want to unify and bridge the crypto market with the global futures market.
Now, can people go on and trade today?
In a couple months, they'll be able to trade on our beta. We're going to launch a trading competition. So on EMX.com, they'll be able to trade this platform, and our live exchange will go on end of the year.
In our next In the Spotlight, we've got one of the more incredible projects, one of the sponsors of the Beyond Block show, a company called Koti, Currency of the Internet. Shachaf, what is Koti?
Well, Koti, we believe in the future of decentralized economies, and so we are creating a decentralized payment system that is needed in this future. And we are giving a platform that allows for anybody to build his own PayPal.
What do you mean build your own PayPal?
Anything you need to create your own payment network. So if you're a big merchant, you want to create your own coin. If you're a financial organization, you might want to compete with Visa and MasterCard and create your own future. So we can allow for all of that to happen.
PayPal is 70,000 transactions per second, and today blockchains, if they're lucky, are doing 1,000 transactions per second. How are you going to achieve this?
Well, I guess it means we are super lucky because we can do 10,000 transactions now and scale it infinitely because we have built on our own protocol called DAG, Direct Acyclic Graph. So this is our data structure that scales infinitely. On top of it, we've used our own new consensus mechanism called the Trust Chain Protocol. And with it, we can scale massively.
Shachaf, I'm going to ask you, can you handle Visa-like volumes if they came to you today?
We can go any scale because we're using the next blockchain.
Now, are you guys raising money?
We are. We're pre-ICO, we're in private sale right now.
Shachaf, sounds amazing. If our viewers want to get more information and maybe even invest, where can they go?
Well, they can go to Kori.io to get far more information and watch videos and everything, and we have channels and newsletters.
I see you guys are doing a token sale.
We are going to do a private sale next month and the public sale end of September.
How much have you raised already?
So we did a seed round earlier this year, backed by Hashed here in Korea, and we raised about 5 million in that round.
Hello, can I use your phone?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to look for some Bitcoin.
Enjoy.
Erica Kang is a specialist in assisting Western companies to penetrate the Korean blockchain market. Erica, tell me why it's so difficult for a Western project to penetrate the Korean market.
I think the Korean culture itself is homogeneous, so I think people don't really want foreigners to come into their country and kind of take over what's there. So localization is very crucial in entering the Korean market.
So let's say I've got a project, I've got the best app in the world, and I want to bring it to Korea. I knock on Erica's door. What happens next?
So when you knock on my door, I try to know about the project very well and to find who are the best partners to meet in Korea. So it's a customization process, basically. For example, conglomerates, I can just seek who can be interested in such a DApp project, and then I try to connect with them, not with only the conglomerates, but local startups maybe, or even local investors, basically. So all around partnerships.
What about exchanges? Could you facilitate listings on Korean exchanges?
Yeah, I'm not a direct help to the exchanges, but I do help set up meetings with exchanges, just the main ones like Corbit, Coin1, Bitham. Can I list it? Yeah.
Investors? Can we find Korean investors for Western projects? Is there appetite?
There is appetite, of course. I think, to be honest, I think Koreans are more kind and more open towards Western products mostly because they feel more fascinated by that projects. Local projects, on the other hand, they're attacking those local projects. They know the language, they know the people, they do all the, they track everyone down. Basically, they know all the history behind the local people. So they don't really have trust in them, basically. They try to attack it a lot.
It's kind of funny because the Westerns are enamored by the Korean projects, and the Koreans are enamored by the Western projects. And that's why people like you exist, to bridge the gap.
Exactly. That's so interesting. So I think I'm kind of used in two ways, basically. Korea to the outside world, and also vice versa. So I'm kind of used in both places.
Okay, now Erica, I don't normally do this, but I think the service that you're doing is so amazing.
Thank you.
If people want to get hold of you to help them, how can they get hold of you?
So we have a representative email, contact@cryptosoul.com, cryptosoul with a K. So we get all our emails through that channel. So pitch your project with a deck and a recent white paper. That'd be great. Yeah.
Now, I don't usually do that. I don't usually let people cunt their services on my show. But I've been in Korea for a while, and it's really hard to penetrate this country. You need help. And Erica is a good friend of Crypto Trader, and she knows what she's doing. If I look like I'm sweating, it's because I am. I've just listened to a panel given by a bunch of people talking about security around blockchain, and let me tell you, it's scary. With me, I've got Andre McGregor, who is an ex-FBI agent, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. I worked pretty much most of the major hacking cases that happened in a 5-year span.
So some of the big projects, significant projects that you took down as part of your squad, what were they?
The cyber branch in New York, which I would say is the best, the best in the FBI, took down things like Anonymous, LulzSec, Silk Road. We've had cases where it'll never make the news, but we did a really good job, and so that's what we're trying to do now is how do we bring that same level of action to the crypto world.
Now let's talk about these security controls. What do you mean by security controls? I hide my private keys. I use a cold storage wallet. What else can I do?
I laugh because there's so much that you can do. I'm wondering how the security is around the computer that you have. I'm wondering if I can communicate with you in such a way that I socially engineer my way into your life to gain access to secrets that would give me access to the passwords to compromise that.
So, if you wanted to hack my wallet, what would you do? Walk me through the thinking. I'm fascinated.
So there's two ways that I'm going to approach this. Either I'm going to hack the person or I'm going to hack the technology. Yes, we can say that if you have your cold wallet that's locked in your safe deposit box and limited access, it's not going to be something I can hack online. But I can hack you and try to get access to you and try to get access into your personal space.
Okay, so 5 tips for people who are watching the show today who want to keep themselves safe, but don't feel safe in this crypto world. What are the top 5 tips you'd give them?
So number 1 is reputation. So I want to say that, whoever I'm dealing with, whatever service I'm using, someone has had a good experience and a bad experience, just like Amazon. Go out, go online, research them, see whether or not it's something that you should work in. Number 2, use a VPN. You'd be surprised the number of people that have mobile phones that don't have VPN on it. But you're in a hotel, you're on hotel Wi-Fi. If I were the bad guy, I would just scan traffic. Or worse, I would just create another Wi-Fi hotspot, same name as the hotel, and just push all the traffic through it and watch your phone. And I'm sure that you have some private information on there that you wouldn't want me to know about.
So reputation, VPN.
Number 3, obviously multi-factor authentication. We talk a lot about 2-factor authentication, but you really have to have multi-factor. So it's not only something you know, like your password, or something you have, like a token. It's something you are, like maybe your retina or your fingerprint, and where you are. People don't think about the fact that I should geo-fence things to say, well, I live in Colorado. The access should only be from Colorado. If something comes in from outside, deny it.
Number 4.
Number 4, patch, patch, patch. So as a bad guy, I need to get into your computer system. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let me create a fake website. That fake website's job is just to tell me what's on your computer. What operating system, what versions of Java and Flash, use that to collect that, and then later at some point, I'm just going to turn on my vulnerability, and then now I've been able to get into your machine because it wasn't patched.
Now number 5, I'm going to bring it to you, and that's password. How long should a password be, and how often should we be changing it?
A password needs to be over 12 characters.
Why?
Quite frankly, you can hack a password under 13 characters in seconds. There are things like rainbow tables that are out there that I can just go, if you're interested, go to Google, type rainbow tables, you will see that all the different hashes and salts that are out there have already been cracked. So I need to create better password entropy by doing that.
Andre, is the blockchain vulnerable today?
The blockchain as a technology is the reason why I left the FBI and the reason why I left the cybersecurity unicorn company Tanium. Both great opportunities for me to really grow as a person, but I saw over and over systems that were getting compromised because we centralized our data and we trusted people that, quite frankly, we probably shouldn't have trusted. So with the blockchain, where I can have immutable data that's decentralized and controlled by my private key, then I can have more control that when you get compromised, I'm not concerned that the data's out there.
Okay, now you're also consulting to the popular show Mr. Robot.
Yes, I am. So
tell us a little bit about that. That sounds so cool.
So Mr. Robot is our way in the hacking world to make it easy to digest all the different ways that someone can be scammed, compromised, socially engineered. It's on USA Networks, won Golden Globes, very popular show. But this season is really going to be focused on what we can do around this community.
Andre, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to get you on Crypto Trader.
Thank you.
If you want to watch Mr. Robot and learn about hacking, yeah, you can do that. Watch Mr. Robot. That brings to an end the first part of our Career Blockchain Week summary. Next week, we'll be covering the heart of the crypto scene from Seoul. Until then, trade well, my friend.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.